Hello and welcome to CX Today. My name is Charlie, and today I'm delighted to be joined by Tom Martin, CEO of Glance. Tom, thank you very much for joining us. How are you doing today?
I'm great, Charlie. Thanks for having me.
Well, it's great to have you join us, and I'm very excited for this conversation where we're going to be talking all things Glance for our CX Big Update series. So, talking all things Glance, I guess the best place to start is by asking you kind of maybe to tell us a little bit about Glance and how you support contact center operations.
Sure. One of the things that we think about is that every day customers reach, a moment in a digital journey, working with a company where they end up needing human guidance. There's so many different digital channels to connect, but it's really a matter of like, when and where you need to be able to help a customer. And so this is where Glance comes in, really connecting customers with agents on screen, in the moment, in brand, to be able to provide that connection to the customer, to be able to get them through, a lot of times it's the what else do I need to know? So being able to provide a guided experience inside of a digital journey that's in brand, that connects with customers in the moment, and doing it in we're basically a collaboration suite for those types of in-brand, in-the-moment experiences. And the part that we start to see in the market is that, one, customers have become so comfortable, with digital. They've become, adept at understanding how to use a lot of the tools, and frankly, people have become really comfortable using video, whatever form it has taken. They're comfortable with video, and so as the use cases become more elaborate, more technical, the need to be able to connect with a human being to provide advice or information and guidance becomes a really important part of how companies think about the experiences they're creating for customers.
Yeah, absolutely. I really love kind of the guided solutions that you provide, just because we hear so much about kind of contact center automation and self-service right now, but most contacts are too difficult and complex for those to handle, even with all the advancements going on. So, with all those complex contacts entering the contact center, how you handle those in an efficient kind of guided way, I think, will become more and more important. And on that note, maybe probably to ask you kind of what within your kind of guided CX portfolio is really resonating with your customers currently?
The I would say the entire portfolio is something that is what people are starting to really look at. Co-browse is a staple because you start thinking about being able to get the on the same page. Charlie, if I could only see what you're looking at, you and I would be able to have a better conversation. I could guide you through those things. But video suddenly was sort of a nascent technology that was just sort of used if we needed to use it. But now people are like, hey, this getting on video is fine. I'm used to doing not just one way, but two way. So being able to connect with customers and realizing that what we're experiencing is not just the simple use case. I would say that we're recognizing that our use cases are becoming more expansive as we hook deeper into the customer journey. And because we're getting deeper into those customer journeys, the tech and the needs become much more broad. And so it's not just like, oh, use this one tool. It's suddenly really getting farther and deeper into how are you creating the journey? What do you want the journey to actually look like? Digital has evolved in so many different ways, and thinking about just putting up a channel that says, if a customer needs help or they get stuck, they can use this channel. I think about what we're starting to work with customers is, instead of just thinking about that way, is what we're doing is really going back to the actual design and really going, what do we actually want the journey to look like? The journey has started this way, but maybe we want it to be completely different. And so as we think about the types of products that companies are really using, co-browse, video, these are staples, but in how they are implemented, how they're connected, becomes an all too important piece. I think about this as more of a recipe, and we're key ingredients. But as you start to think about a recipe and all the different ingredients, we're getting deeper into thinking about the integrations that we have with other adjacent technologies that are going to be part of that journey.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's something a lot of more contact centers are thinking about, definitely too, in terms of, we know a customer has this query, it's too complex to automate. It's kind of, I say, how can we make sure they're on the right channel so that we can do this as efficiently as possible. Because I mean, that's not only a better customer experience, but huge business savings actually as well, isn't it? When you think about it. So yeah, it's a great topic. It makes me think, how are you continually going to evolve that portfolio further? So maybe, I don't know if you could share some insights into your product roadmap for the
Yeah.
next 12
Well,
months.
the thing about just talking about digital channels and saying, hey, we're going to have, say, a chat or a chat bot or some other channel that's going to be available. Oftentimes, those channels can start out great, but it's just a matter of time of. It's not a matter of if. It's really a matter of like when is that channel going to fail. And the customer is going to then have to switch to another channel, take whatever knowledge they've gained, and then try to get a little bit further in the next channel to the point when it's like, what if we really start to think about, how organizations, need to start to think about, what they're doing with customers and starting to realize that they need to deliver, a highly differentiated human-centric experience. And they need to think about the full life cycle of a person's experience as they're interacting with a business, considering all the touch points a person might have related to it and constantly looking for new ways to deliver value. We talk about how it's not a product, feature, or price, it's experience. And so thinking about the total experience, not just like this one specific use case, but stitching them all together, all the different touch points that a customer has. And so for us, probably one of the first things that as we're digging deeper is thinking about CX design and starting to get deeper into doing some of that consulting work with our clients to really start that foundational piece, which is really thinking about reimagining what the journey could look like versus saying, gosh, you know what, we can help when this channel fails. We don't want customers to get exasperated. We want to be able to actually watch what's happening in the channel or in the journey and meet customers at moments when we can sort of start to predict what's actually happening or when they may need to be in a different channel. The things about the channels today is the customer has to drive the channel. And when the customer can't get any further, they switch. And what if we can actually understand like where the customer is and when they actually need help and reach farther in before they even get to that point? And so one is thinking about CX design as a strategy that informs our product, and part of that really starts to look at how we look at adapters and integrations, so that we become, as I was talking about, as a component, as an ingredient in a larger recipe for how you're building experiences for customers. The second is thinking about mobile. Outside of this country, if you've traveled, I know you're in a different country right now, is that mobile is essentially the first point that many customers have with a business. In the U.S., we're a laggard. A lot of people still use a laptop or an iPad or a desktop, but mobile is increasingly used. And so thinking about how to take some of those simple experiences that we've had, screen sharing or co-browse that's inside of a mobile, and starting to layer in 1, 2, or multi-way video and bringing those experiences together. Because as you start to think about what mobile can do, in a banking scenario, it could assist in know your customer, in doing that important, validation of getting a customer through that journey of account setup. We've seen stuff in life sciences where someone's trying to show how an application can work. We've done stuff in retail where someone's actually trying to physically get, like point of sale pieces connected. So how do you do that so that you can then take the next step in the journey, which is going to be online? Once we get connected, I can jump into the system. But thinking about mobile, as not just a platform for like everyone's just going to be using mobile, but it's so much more broad. And so thinking about the way we're developing an SDK to be able to give not just people options, but to allow them to imagine different ways of interacting with their customers. That to me is probably one of the most exciting pieces. I think, I'm talking about some of the complexity, that we're going to start to uncover, with things like CX, doing some of the experiential CX design and mobile. But there's other pieces that we're working on that are really, I think, taking what I would call next level, which is, thinking about co-browse and having the ability to see what you're looking at. Oftentimes, co-browse is limited to, a web page, CSS, HTML, and we start to realize that oftentimes, collaboration, getting someone, I'm trying to move funds, I'm trying to invest in something, I might have to fill out different forms, it could be insurance, whatever it might be, but you realize, what if it's a Word document, Excel, PDF, some other form, and realizing that we want to be able to view those documents as well. And the next step is depending on the type of care that you provide to customers, a lot of times, businesses are trying to stratify their customers and saying, this one, people can do a self-service journey. This one might need just a little assistance. This one, we're going to provide white glove and actually do most of it for them. And so thinking about companies that are in a regulated industry, or things that privacy and security are highly important to their business or industry, being able to provide things like co-editing, so you can co-edit a document that the customer might own and that they're not going to upload, or we might own and we're not going to upload it to them, but we can share that in an environment and actually co-edit it together. We can do things like important logging, so we understand who's touched the document, what elements of the document did they touch, when and where, so that you can have those types of controls, but realizing that this is all part of sort of that next level of thinking about all the different elements that could be part of a journey to be able to get someone through it, and to provide the level of care and human connection that becomes so important in how people do business today.
Yeah, I think that's really great insight, not only into kind of your portfolio, but also into the future of customer experience. Because as we've discussed, this is going to become much more mainstream, this thinking that you've outlined there. And I'm sure this is something we could talk about for a lot longer. I think for this update series, we'll probably have to close it there. But it's always great to speak to you, Tom. So thank you very much for joining us today.
Yeah, you too, Charlie. Thanks for having me.
Excellent. And also, thanks to everybody for watching. Bye for now.